In the opening, there are three things you need to do. You need to develop your pieces, to get the king to safety, and you need to fight for the central squares. In this particular example, white has done very well. He's developed all the pieces on the king side, got the bishop, the knight, and the rook into the game, while the other pieces, the bishop and the knight, are ready to develop on good, solid central squares. White also has a lot of influence in the center on all of these four central squares, here, 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 and here. You can see that white has influence over all of these squares with the pawns, the knight, the rook, the queen, and also the bishop, which is attacking this knight that is fighting for this important square right here. Let me show you an example of a game I played a few years ago in which both players make good logical moves towards the center. This develops the knight, preparing for castling, and fights for two central squares, here and here. So black does the same, essentially, covering these two squares and protecting the pawn. White develops the bishop, and now is prepared for castling, while also attacking the knight, which is covering these two important squares. Black defends the pawn and prepares to develop this bishop. White castles at the first opportunity. Black develops another knight and attacks the pawn right here. So white develops the rook while at the same time protecting the pawn. Black develops the bishop and relieves the pin on the knight. White moves another pawn into the center, which he can afford since the pawn is attacked twice by the knight and the pawn, while it's also protected twice by the knight and the queen. And here we have a fairly standard position. This is called the Spanish opening, named after the Spanish priest Ruy Lopez, who lived in the 16th century. This is one of the most popular openings on every level, from beginners to World Championship matches. The latest one being Magnus Carlsen from 2013, in which both I and my opponent Anand employed this opening with both colors.